Good afternoon, I'm Noyes. Today we're going to be conducting a class over on how to identify topographical symbols on a military map. Some safety considerations. We are outside, the sun is out. If you feel like you're going to fall into a heat casualty, drink water, let somebody know, and we will mitigate this risk as much as possible. Don't mess with the wildlife. If you see an anthill or a snake or some spiders roaming around, leave them be. Let one of the facilitators know, and we will handle that. Also, watch where you step. Don't step in a hole. Don't step on rocks. Don't step on trees. No, we don't want anybody to have a rolled ankle out here. All right, so your condition. You are a member of a squad or team in a field environment and have been given a 1 in 50,000 scale military map and a requirement to identify topographical symbols on a military map. Your standards: identify the basic colors, topographical symbols, and marginal information on the military map. Your overall risk assessment is low. Let's try to keep it that way. Okay, so some things to remember, some important key points to remember are the colors on a military map. You have black, blue, brown, green, red, and red-brown. Your black is cultural or man-made features, elevation, and labels. Your blue represents water. Brown are all the relief features, cultivated land on a red light readable map. Your green is your vegetation. Your red are major roads and populated areas. Your red-brown, all relief features and main roads on a red light readable map. Now I will demonstrate how to find and identify the colors on a military map, the marginal information, and the topographical symbols that make up the military map. So remember that the color black represents man-made features. Some really key things to consider about that is you have buildings, different types of buildings, towers, churches, schools. All of those have different shapes on the map, but they're all black. So an example of that would be, you have a complex right here with a lot of buildings. Buildings are rectangles. Basic buildings are rectangles. That's Harmony Church. If you go down here, you have a hospital, and you can tell that's a hospital because it's a black circle with a white cross inside of it. If you go down a little bit further, you can find a school. It is a black square with what looks to be a flag on top of it. You can also identify churches as a black square with a black cross on top of it. Okay, now that we've done that, we're going to go into water. Some things to remember about water is it's not a definite shape. So right here you have Lake Walter. It is an indefinite shape and it's blue. And you have what seems to be a river that connects to it because it's a blue line that flows into the lake. Also, one more key thing to remember about water: if you have a vegetation or a green area on the map, and there are what looks to be blue lines that look like grass that are sprouting out of the green vegetation on the map, that would be considered a swamp. Next, we're going to be going over green. This whole map is basically green. It's not that hard to find. That's just your vegetation. Something to remember about what green is it's vegetation with military significance, such as woods, orchards, or vineyards. Right? So now we're going to go into brown. Brown identifies all relief features and elevations, such as contours on older edition maps and cultivated land on a red light readable map. So you're going to look at your contour lines, right? Contour lines are these little small, thin, brown lines that look like they go in all directions. And what that is used for is to tell how tall or how much depth something has. Because each contour line correlates to a number, and you can count the contour lines and figure out how tall a hill is, for instance, or how deep a valley is. Now we're going to look into red-brown, and that classifies cultural features such as populated areas. So we have, this is a military map on an installation, so we have a lot of ranges. So like a populated area is Alpha Range Complex. It's a complex that has ranges inside of it, and it's all red-brown. That's how you can identify that. Then we're going to go into looking what red is, and red is like your major roads, your main roads. We have one right here that's literally named the Red Route, and that goes through Jamestown and up. And if you have smaller red-brown lines, those could also be alternate routes or roads. Now we're going to be looking more into the symbols and what they mean. We've already gone over buildings and populated areas, but if you have like windmills, for instance, or towers, those also appear on the map. A tower looks like a tower, but it's black. A windmill looks like a windmill, but it's black, and they're small and they're placed on the map. Next, we're going to be going over marginal information. We're going to start at the bottom left-hand corner of the map. We're going to work our way to the right side, and we're going to go up and back over to the left. Right? So, starting at the very left, you have your legend. It says, legend, map information as of 2012. This has all your key points of the symbols on the map. For instance, your main roads, your restricted areas, your bodies of water. If you ever forget what a color means or what object corresponds to what you're trying to look for, you can always look at the legend and figure that back out. To the very right of that, we have the military legend. And being this is a military map, you have your ammunition storage, your drop zones, your firing ranges, your impact areas, your restricted areas, your training sites, your tank trails. You have artillery and mortar firing points, beach landing site, forward operation bases, tactical training base, observation points, and training sites. To the right of that, if you're looking for one of those, it gives you the color and a shape that corresponds to whatever you're looking for. For instance, the air traffic control point is a black triangle. So if you were looking at, you would come up over here, and we're going to look at this Alpha Range Complex. And yeah, you would see there's a black triangle on the upper left edge of that. That would be something along the lines of where a plane goes to land or something like that. To the very right of that, up in the top area, kind of right here, you have your scale, which is 1 in 50 thousandths, and your meters and kilometer scale to measure the distance on the map if you're not going to use your protractor. It's always recommended you do use your protractor though. Directly below that, it gives you your contour intervals, like I was talking about how to measure the height of a hill. It's 10 meters. So for each contour line, if you were trying to measure a hill, the height of a hill, you would count the contour line. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 40 meters. Directly below that, directly to the right of that, you have your slope guide. If you were trying to determine the slope of a hill, this is what you would look at. It gives you your percentage and your degrees. Directly above that, you have your conversion graph. Your conversion from meters to feet, and it goes all the way down to the hundredths. To the right of that, you have your declination diagram on how to convert magnetic to grid or grid to magnetic. It gives you gives you the degree to do that with. To the right of this, you have your boundaries on what side of the earth, or what side of the United States this map correlates to. You have Georgia, Alabama, and you have your counties in there: Muscogee County, Chattahoochee County. And to the right of that, you have your adjoining sheets paper on where this map fits in along with the boundaries. To the right, or below that, you have your elevation guide, whether it's low, medium, or high. So if you look around the map, you're going to see these numbers. That is your start grid, or how to start to get a grid. You take these numbers, and even in the middle of the map, you have numbers too. And that's how you can find a grid with a protractor. So the top right of your map, you have the sheet name. The sheet is Fort Benning, Mike, India, Mike. Directly beside that, you have your series number, which is Victor 745 Sierra, edition number 003. The name of your map in the middle, Fort Benning Military Installation Map. And to the very left, you have your scale, 1 in 50 thousandths. Now that you've been shown how to perform each of these steps and how to find them on the map, you will be given 3 minutes to practice. Remember your performance steps. I want you to identify and name the 6 colors on a military map. Identify the topographical symbols, for instance, buildings, hospitals, stuff like that. And the marginal information, I want you to point out and identify where those are on the map. At this time, your 3 minutes starts now. 3 minutes complete. Remember, as I was walking around, I had some of you ask questions. Maybe I wasn't clear on the colors or what the legend means. So key information. You have 6 colors, and if you can't remember what they are in the legend, and they will tell you what they mean. And remember, your legend is on the far left bottom of the map. Okay. Now that we've all practiced, and the soldiers who have asked me questions have been squared away, we are going to take the next 4 minutes to test out. Key things to consider while taking this test. In order to get a complete go, you're going to have to name all 6 colors on the map and provide an example of what each color represents. You're going to have to name topographical symbols, such as buildings, hospitals, schools, populated areas, roads, and then your marginal information. So you're going to go around the map just as I did when I demonstrated, and tell me what each piece of information on this map means, starting from the bottom left, working your way right, going up the map, and going back over. Your 4 minutes begins now. Four minutes complete. For those of you who did not receive a go, we will be retraining and retesting on 05 November 2020 at this exact location at 1400. I will be the instructor, and we will go over the class, and if you need me to break it down a little more, I can break it down a little more, and you will be retested. At this time, I'm going to account for all equipment. I noticed some soldiers putting some stuff on the ground. Just keep in mind, it is the responsibility of all DoD members and military personnel to ensure to preserve and keep the installation clean. Now I'm going to to clear my training site. All right, we're going to be going over into the AAR. What was supposed to happen? We came out here to conduct a class over how to identify topographical symbols on a military map. We went over colors, topographical symbols, and the marginal information on the map. What did happen? Correct. We went over a class on how to identify topographical symbols on a military map. We also went over map colors, topographical information, or topographical symbols, and marginal information. At this time, I'm going to ask for 2 sustains and 2 improves. Okay, at this time I'm going to ask for some recommendations on what I can do better tomorrow to help break down the next class for those of you who received a no-go. Things that we went over the risk assessment. It was low, and we kept it low. We mitigated heat by standing in the shade. I came out here before the class had started, and I reconned the area, swept it, picked up the rocks and the debris that was on the ground, moved it out of the way to ensure nobody broke their leg or rolled their ankle. Nobody got bit by a snake or bit by a spider, so that's good. I'm going to conduct the final inspection of the training site, make sure everything was picked up. So is that the training site? Sorry, Nichols. At this time, we have 2 trained, 2 untrained. Retesting will be tomorrow at 05 November 2020 at 1400. Same uniform. This concludes my class.